Hey, welcome to part one of 5 clauses everyone should know. Today we're going to be talking about the Constitution. Now, you look at this document, you might always dust this thing off and see what this old piece of parchment has to say. It has cursive handwriting. What does this thing even mean? Why does it matter? That's a good question. It's a fair question. Why is the Constitution important? It's important to know the answer to this question because the Constitution establishes for us our law, the rules by which we the people are protected from other people infringing on our rights and from government infringing on our rights. It's what establishes the law. Okay, so look at this picture. What do you see? Hopefully you can see, kind of an interesting one, hopefully you can see a foundation. The foundation is made out of cement, right? It's solid, it's sound, and you can build on that. What if the foundation is made out of sand? Can you build on that? What's going to happen if you build a house on that? It's going to fall apart, right? You need a firm foundation you can set it on. And today we're going to talk a lot about the technicalities of the Constitution. In this part one introduction, we're going to talk a lot about the technicalities. I'm not going to get into the details of what the Constitution says as much as let's talk about that foundation. Let's talk about how it's organized and set up and structured, okay? So that when we build, we can build on the foundation of the Constitution. From there, we can move on to the next steps where it really gets exciting in the following 5 presentations. All right, so here's our Constitution, all right? Our Constitution is broken up into different parts. In fact, those are 7 different parts, and those parts are called articles, okay? Now, here they are. Here's Part 1, Article 2, Article 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those are 7 articles, okay? Now, each one, the way you know which article is which, it actually says it. But Article 1 has a little Roman numeral. You know what a Roman numeral is, right? It's an I, a capital I. So Article 1, you see right there, it says Article 1. That's how you know. Look at Article 1. It's 50% of the volume of the Constitution. Article 2, double I there. Article 3 is the triple I. And then Article 4, capital I, capital V. Article 5, Article 6, and Article 7. Okay? There's the basic breakdown of how the Constitution is broken up into 7 different parts. And each one of these parts, I didn't know this when I started this 3 years ago. I had no idea, but each one of those parts has a specific subject. Article 1 is the legislative branch, and we're going to talk about each of these more specifically a little bit later. Article 2 is the executive branch. Article 3 is the judicial. Article 4 are the states. I should say mostly the states. Article 4 is somewhat of a catch-all. There's a lot in there, but focus mostly on the states. Article 5 is the amendment process. Article 6 is the supremacy clause, and Article 7 is the ratification. Okay? Like I said, we'll talk about that in more detail later, but there's your breakout. You look at this piece of paper and go, oh, okay, well, there's 7 different parts. They're called articles, and here's what they all talk about. What I want you to do from this presentation, from this introduction, is to be able to remember where these different topics go. So, Article 1 is the legislative branch. We talked about that. What's it mean to legislate? To legislate means to write laws. Okay? So we have our capital I here, and I don't know, maybe this works for you, it works for me. The capital I kind of reminds you of a pencil, okay? So you throw a pencil on there, make it a big pencil, and it's the first letter of the word legislative, okay? So that's a way to remember, the legislative branch. Article 1, legislative, okay? 1, legislative. Good. So the legislative branch at the U.S. level, what's that called? You're right, it's called Congress, okay? So Article 1 is the legislative branch, Congress. Let's go on to Article 2. Article 2 is the executive branch. Okay, what's it mean what's executive mean? It means, it comes from the word to execute, right? To execute means to carry out the law, to make it happen, okay? So we have Article 2, these 2 double I's. What if we take those 2 double I's and we cross them? What are we going to make? Make an X, right? Which will remind us, okay, executive. Yeah, so Article 2 is the executive, okay? Executive branch. Now the person in charge of the executive branch at the U.S. level is the president, right? Okay, so Article 1, legislative. Article 2, executive. Good. So Article 3 is the judicial branch. Now that's kind of a big word. What does that come from? Well, it really comes just from the word judge, to judge. Okay, so we have our triple I here, Article 3. When you go into now bear with me here, the weirder stuff is sometimes the more you remember it, okay? So you go into a judge because you have 2 people who aren't happy, right? You come out with 2 people smiling. So let's take those three eyes and put them out there and put 2 smiles on, okay? Because they walk out from the judge saying, hey, everything's good, we're all fixed it. Now what does that look like? Well, in my mind at least, it looks like the first 2 letters, J and U, okay? Judicial, all right? So that's one way to remember it, is judicial branch. Now the judicial branch at the U.S. level is the Supreme Court, okay? So Article 1, legislative. Article 2, executive. Article 3, judicial, okay? Excellent. Now, Article 4 is the states. you ever been to Four Corners, right? What is that? Utah, Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico? Yeah. Been to Four Corners, those are 4 states, right? So when you think of Article 4, you can think of 4 corners, 4 states. Article 4 is the states. Article 1, legislative. Article 2, executive. Article 3, judicial. Article 4, states. Okay? Good. Now, Article 5, if you remember, is the amendment, right? Amendment process. Now, what's it mean to amend? Amend means to change, okay? So there's ways in the Constitution in Article 5 that tell you how to amend or how to change the Constitution. So let's look at this. We have our capital V, right, which is Article 5. What if we take that and just flip it over? What's it become? It becomes a capital A, the first letter of amendments, okay? So Article 5, amendments. Article 5, okay, got it? That's a way to remember it. Amendment process, remember? Amendment means the rules to change the Constitution. Article 6 has to do with supremacy, okay? Supremacy comes from the word supreme. What's supreme mean? It means the highest level. It means what's in charge, okay? Our Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It's what's in charge in our land. So let's take this VI and let's flip it over as well. What's it become? It becomes a capital I, capital A. You can kind of think of this as I am, put an M on there, I am supreme, okay? So there's supremacy, I am supreme. VI, flip it over, I am supreme, okay? So supremacy. Now, moving on to Article 7. This one, it's just weird. It probably doesn't work at all, okay? But it's something to kick in your mind and go, okay, that's the analogy you used. It didn't make any sense, but that's how I remember it. Okay, so here it is. Article 7, ratification. First of all, what's it mean to ratify? Ratify means to adopt, to vote, to approve, okay? So in the 13 colonies, they wrote these rules in Article 7 how to ratify the Constitution. And 9 out of the 13 colonies had to say, yep, we want this. And that's when it became valid, when they voted for it. Okay, so Article 7, VII. We're going to flip over a couple of these and turn it into something that looks similar to some letters. A, and let's say that second one's a T, I, okay, which are the second, third, and fourth letters of the word ratification. Does that work? More or less, okay? Like I said, just go, oh, that one didn't work, but I remember why it didn't work, and it means ratification. Okay, ratification rules, voting to adopt the Constitution. Okay, so there you have it, right? The Constitution is broken up into 7 different parts called articles. Each one has their separate topic. Let's review. Article 1 is legislative. Article 2, executive. Article 3, judicial. Article 4, states. Article 5, the amendment process. Article 6, supremacy. And Article 7, ratification. Good. The 7 articles, it might not surprise you to know that each of those articles is divided into topics, into different parts as well. Okay, so here's your 7 articles. Let's just focus on Article 2 for a second. Article 2 has 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, there they are. And it might not surprise you that each of those sections is broken down into more parts in those parts. So let's say Article 2, Section 1, it's broken down into 8 different parts, and those parts are called clauses. Okay, so you have article, section, and then clause. Okay. So there are 8 clauses in Article 2, Section 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now let's take a close-up. Okay, here's the upper left-hand corner of our Constitution. You can see where's Article 1. It's pretty simple. It's right there. It says Article 1, right? You read it. Okay, and then where's Section 1? Well, it's got a squirrely handwriting there, but it's pretty simple there as well. It says Section 1. It's where the first section of Article 1 starts. Now, where's Clause 1? Right? We talked about Article and Section. Now, where's Clause 1? Where does that show up? You see the word clause anywhere? You won't, okay? The word clause doesn't show up in the Constitution. So how do you know when there's a new clause? How can I say there are 8 clauses in Article 2? Well, it's because a clause happens where every indentation occurs, okay? So you see right here, Clause 1 is right after Section 1 where it says all legislative powers. Let's take a more clear example, okay? So let's go to Article 1, Section 2. See that? There it is. Article 1, Section 2 has more than just one clause. You can see the first clause is where it says the House of Representatives. Where's Clause 2, though? It's where it indents again, right there. Okay? And Article 3, where it indents another time. So Article 1, Section 2, Clause 1. Section 2, Clause 2. Section 2, Clause 3. That's how it works out. Now remember I told you that all the articles have sections and clauses that are broken down that way. Well, there's some exceptions to that rule. Okay? Article 5 is one of those. Article 5, you look at it, and you can see clearly it says Article V, right? Article 5. And when you go to where it normally says Section 1, what's it say? Well, it doesn't say Section 1. You probably can't even read what that says, but it doesn't say Section 1. It just goes straight into the words of the Constitution there. So Article 5 only has one paragraph. It only has one section, one clause, so it never writes in Section 1, and there's no more indentation. So there are no sections and clauses in Article 5. Technically speaking, When you refer to Article 5, it's just the article. You don't need to refer to the section and clause because there aren't any sections and clauses. They're all just one paragraph. Okay. The other exception is Article 6. You see here, clearly it says Article VI, right? Article 6. You'll notice that it goes right into it says all debts. But we know now what's different about Article 6 is it has 3 different indentations, doesn't it? So what's that mean? Well, Article 6 has, even though it only has one section, and it's not listed because there's only one section, it does have 3 different clauses. There's Clause 1, Clause 2, and Clause 3. So technically speaking, when you're talking about Article 6, you wouldn't say Article 6, Section 1, Clause 2. You just say Article 6, Clause 2. You don't need to say Section 1 because there's no Section 2. Okay? Now remember, we're just getting, these are just technicalities, just foundational ideas, just to be able to build upon later, but just to give you a feel for how things are referenced and organized and structured in the Constitution. So, okay, in review real quick. Article 1, Section 1, Clause 1, all legislative powers herein granted, right? So it's similar to how the Bible's organized. The Bible has, if you want to look something up the Bible, you look up book and then chapter and the verse, okay? Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1. That's how you read it. It says in the beginning. You just read it. It's not complicated or mysterious, okay? Same thing with the Constitution. The book is similar to the article. The chapter is similar to the section, and the verse is similar to the clause, okay? So if I told you to look up Exodus 29, verse 2, it'd be pretty easy. You just go and find it, right? Same thing with the Constitution. Article 4, Section 2, Clause 1. You just go look it up, okay? So hopefully that helps you out. Another example is an owner's manual, okay? This is a picture I took of the owner's manual for my car. It has 8 different parts in it. Let's look at the 7th section, where it says do-it-yourself maintenance, okay? And look at part 2, where it says engine and chassis. See that? Okay, so you turn to Section 7, Part 2, and you go to the 6th topic, which is checking the tire inflation pressure. Notice that when you're talking about Section 7, in general, it's talking about a topic, which is do-it-yourself maintenance. Then you go to Part 2, which is in general talking about the engine and chassis. It's only when you get down to the actual words, just like in the Constitution, you get the actual clause, where you get the words and the information. So you go to that page and it tells you, yep, here's how you check the tire inflation pressure. Okay? See how that works? Just organization. Articles and sections, or books and chapters, or sections and parts, those are just organizational terms. It's when you get into the actual meat of the Constitution when you hit the clauses. Alright guys, so now it's time to open up the Constitutions, okay? Open up your Constitution to Article 1, Section 8. See if you can find that. What page is it on? See there? Okay, page 6. Article 1, Section 8 shows up on page 6. I'll give you a second to get there. Now, Article 1 talks about what branch? Do you remember? Article 1 is the legislative, right? So Article 1, we should be expecting something to be said about the legislative. And I'll tell you that Article 1, Section 8 is the most important section of the Constitution because it lists the legislative powers of Congress. And notice it's not that big, right? It's just 2 short pages of the list of things they can do. Kind of tells you something about what's going on in our Congress today, all the things they're doing that aren't necessarily in the Constitution. So remember I told you, when we're looking at our Constitution, you can see the words there. It says Article 1, it says Section 8, but you can't see Clause 1, right? So we're going to write in those clauses so you know them, so you can refer to them. Notice right after Section 8, it says what? That Congress shall have power to. All right? Now that's kind of the pre-phrase to all these other powers. The Congress shall have power to do this. The Congress shall have power to do this, to do this, to do that. Okay, so you'll see on the other clauses, it just starts right with the word to, but it's prefaced by the Congress shall have power to. So number 1 is you're going to put right after Section 8 right there, and you're going to put a little 1. See that? Okay, good. Now, number 2 is right where it says to borrow money. The Congress shall have power to borrow money. Number 3, number 4, etc. Okay, so go through and write those in. All right? Take a second to do that. Should look somewhat similar to this Constitution. Okay, so you got that lined out. Every time there's an indentation, you got a new clause number there, right? Okay, good. So to check yourself, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 is what? To declare war. Okay, so that's where you got that lined out. So in each segment of the series, we're going to have activities and games. So we arrived at the first activity for part 1 here, and it's called Name That Clause. Okay. The reason we're doing it is so we can get into the Constitution. And here's how it works. Okay, so if you're playing at home with a group, you just need to have somebody do this. I'll do it for you live as well. You just read the first few words of one of the clauses in Article 1, Section 8. And the first person to identify it correctly as Article 1, Section 8, Clause, whatever it is, they win. Okay? So here we go. Ready? Let's start easy. To make all laws that shall be necessary and proper. Found it? Good. What is it? Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18. You're right. Okay? So right there, that's where you see it. We highlighted on the screen here. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18. Good. Okay, the next one. To coin money. Which one is that? Yep, you got it. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 5. Okay, here it's highlighted for us again. Next one. To borrow money. Yep, Clause 2. Good. Okay, so you see how that works? It's pretty simple. We don't have to be intimidated by the Constitution. We don't have to have a lawyer interpret it for us or someone tell us how it works. Look, here it is. It's simple. Just open it up yourself. You find the article, section, clause. Okay, we're going to take this one step further. We're going to get outside of Article 1, Section 8. You ready? Okay, I'm going to read the first few words of a different clause from a different section. Here it goes. The importation or migration of such persons. Now, if you found that, good job. It's Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1. It's on the same pages, right? Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1. See that where it's highlighted? All right, so now we're gonna turn the tables a little bit, okay? I'm going to give you a reference, and you read to me the first few words of that clause. You ready? Okay, so you got the opposite. I'm gonna say the reference, and you're going to find it and read back what the answer is. Here it is. Article 2, Section 1, Clause 1. Go. Find it? Good, okay. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. There it is, okay? One more. Here's the next one, the last one. Ready? Here's the reference. I want you to read to me the words that you find. Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2. Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2. Find it? What's it say? Good. The Congress shall have power to, etc., right? Okay? So you see how that works? Hopefully that activity, you can play that more if you want to. Just test each other, quiz each other. It hopefully helps you feel more familiar with how the Constitution is set up. It's pretty simple. Okay, so we've talked about articles, sections, and clauses. Now we're going to talk about the 5 clauses everyone should know, right? That's the title of the whole series. So let's get into that. Now we already know there's certain clauses throughout the Constitution. I want to just show you a 10,000-foot view, okay? I don't expect you to be able to read these just for fun, just so you know where they're located. Here are the 5 clauses we're going to talk about. First, the Supremacy Clause. Second, Treaty Law Clause. Third, the Interstate Commerce Clause. Fourth, the Necessary and Proper Clause. And fifth, General Welfare Clause. Those are the 5 clauses that everyone should know. I've been doing this for about 4 years, and I've had thousands of conversations with legislators, governor, all kinds of political groups and parties, etc. And I'm telling you, all of my conversations revolve around these 5 clauses. That's why I've identified them as the 5 clauses everyone should know. Okay? Now, have you heard of the word acronym? What's an acronym? Isn't an acronym you taking the first letters of the words and it creates another word or another phrase? Anybody see an acronym here? You're right. STING, right? S-T-I-N-G. So that's the way to remember the 5 most important clauses, okay, of the Constitution. S, supremacy. T, treaty law. I, interstate commerce clause. N, necessary and proper. And G, general welfare. Okay, you got it? We're going to try to get these into our hearts and minds so we remember them. Not that knowing the technicalities is all that important, but it's a good foundation to start on, right? Now, you'll notice that the constitutional references here, the first 2, Supremacy Clause and Treaty Law Clause, and then the last 3, okay? What do you notice about the first 2 there? Any similarities about their references? Simple, right? They both say Article 6, Clause 2. Now, what about the last 3? You notice any similarities about their references? Well, all 3 of them are from Article 1, Section 8, aren't they? Okay, kind of interesting. So we're essentially finding 2 different parts where these 5 most important clauses are found. All right? So what I want to do is I want to help you memorize where the Supremacy Clause, where is it located? You know, the different clauses, where are they located? We're going to do some word plays again to try to help you remember that. This sort of gets a little bit crazy, okay, I admit, a little bit interesting and weird. But the Supremacy Clause, how are we going to remember this? Well, let me introduce you to my friend, the burrito, okay? And this burrito isn't just a regular bean burrito, it's a burrito supreme. Okay, burrito supreme, what's that mean? Well, it means it has sour cream, right? But the reason we're using supreme is because it relates to the word supremacy, okay? So you think Supremacy Clause, okay, burrito supreme, okay, got it. And you want to guess how tall this burrito is? It's a huge, tall burrito. This burrito is 6 feet 2 inches tall. And why would I choose 6 feet 2 inches to be the height? Because Article 6, Clause 2. Get it? Okay, is that weird enough that you'll remember? So when I say Supremacy Clause, I say, okay, Supreme burrito, 6 foot 2. Okay, Article 6, Clause 2. Got it? Okay, weird, but hopefully memorable. Now we're going to go on to the treaty law. In a treaty law clause, we've got Article 6, Clause 2 as well, the exact same reference, okay? And in this case, we have a tree, and we have a golf tee that forms a treaty, okay? A tree that is how tall? Guess. Yep, 6 foot tall tree and a 2-inch tall T. Why? Because the treaty law clause is Article 6, Clause 2. Get it? Okay, weird, I know, but I'm telling you, we've had hundreds of students, they get it. They understand this is how we memorize and remember these things, okay? So treaty, you got a 6'2" tree and a T. Good, Article 6, Clause 2, okay? Next, moving on to the Interstate Commerce Clause. You've heard of the phrase ABC 1, 2, 3, right? That's normal. What we're going to use is this ICC. Where do I come up with ICC instead of ABC? ICC, well, from the first 3 letters of Interstate Commerce Clause, right? Okay? And then, instead of 1, 2, 3, we're going to use 183. And why 183? Because Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3. Okay? Interstate Commerce Clause, ICC 183. Got it? Okay. Good. Now, the fourth one is the Necessary and Proper Clause, which is found in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18. It kind of popped out at me, okay? This idea, 1 and 8 are necessary to make 18, right? Is that true? 1 and 8 are necessary to make 18. Now, why would I use 1 and 8? It's Article 1, Section 8, right? Why would I use the word necessary? Because it's the necessary and proper clause. And then 18 is the clause, okay? So 1 and 8 are necessary to make 18. That's how you remember Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18, necessary and proper, okay? All right, good. Moving on to the last one, General Welfare Clause. Okay, General Welfare is found in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1. Anyone want to guess why I use a general? Duh, because it's a general, right? Now, his name badge right here, our general is named what? General Welfare, okay? That makes sense. And our General Welfare, he served in the prestigious 181st Airborne Division. So he has a gold badge here that says 181st, okay? Why would it be 181? Because Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1. Okay? So kind of some silly ways to remember, but like I said, the way you memorize stuff is the sillier the better, really, so you can remember them now. Okay, you want to review those? Okay, Supremacy Clause. What do we have? A burrito. How tall is it? 6'2". That's right, Article 6, Clause 2. Okay? Treaty Law. Treaty 6'2", Article 6, Clause 2. Good. Now, Interstate Commerce Clause. How do you remember that one? ICC equals 183. Good. Okay. Necessary and proper. 1 and 8 are necessary to make 18. Okay. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18. And the General Welfare Clause, he served in the 181st, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1. Okay. All right. So now it's time for the second game. Okay. This is a fun one. We get to stand up and throw a beach ball around. What you need to do is you need to get a beach ball and write on there each of the articles, right? Article 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you also need to write on it the clauses. General welfare, what do we got here? Interstate commerce, necessary and proper, supremacy, treaty law. Pass it around the circle. When you catch it, wherever your right thumb lands closest to, like in this case, the supremacy clause, you say, oh, well, that's Article 6, Clause 2. Okay, so it's kind of a nice review lesson.
Necessary and proper clause. Article 1, Section 8. Clause 18.
Article 7, ratification.
Supremacy clause, Article 6, Clause 2. Article 3, judicial.
Great. So is that fun? Hopefully that was fun. You can do that. You know, make it enjoyable. Don't just rote memorize these things. Have a game. Throw things around. Have a good time. So you're done with part 1, the introduction, okay? Now what you do is take that quiz, okay? Go to intheconstitution.org/resources, and you'll find the quiz for the introduction. Take that. You'll notice if you turn the thing over, the answers are on the bottom, okay? To help you remember these things. So you can take that quiz, and what I think is fun about it too is give that quiz to your parents. Have them take the quiz as well. Learn together, quiz each other, get this in your heart and mind. Remember, the first introduction is just some facts and figures, some trivia. The next 5, we're going to get into the actual details and why it's so important to know what the Constitution says and why that matters. Have a good time.